Welcome back, friends. So shopping for a tow vehicle, I think this is a hotly contested subject. I think it's a subject that's almost never ending because everyone has their own specific situation. But I'm going to give you my top 5 things I look for while shopping for a tow vehicle. But more importantly, I think it would be awesome if those of you who have experience in this department, leave some comments below. Let us know your experience shopping for a tow vehicle. So you got the diesel guys out there, you got the gas guys out there, you got the single rear wheel guys out there, you got the dually guys out there. Let us know what you look for. When we do that, because these videos generally get a lot of views, so and they get a lot of comments. So when we do that, those people that are actually looking for a tow vehicle can use all of our comments, this video and the comments below it, as a great resource for while they're shopping for their particular tow vehicle. So let's get started. My top 5 things I looked for when shopping for a tow vehicle. All right, so the most important thing for me when I was shopping for a tow vehicle was payload. I was in an F-150 EcoBoost with a payload of a little over 1,500 pounds, and I just needed more room when it came to payload. My hitch weight is almost 900 pounds on the travel trailer, so you can tell once you put me in the vehicle, my wife in the vehicle, 2 kids, firewood, bicycles, we really start to have to do some math to make sure we're not going over our payload. Now, some people will tell you that payload is just a suggestion. I can promise you, the 3 big Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, they've got way too much competition to be putting a suggestion out there on their payloads. They want that number to be as big as possible. They're trying to leave their competition in the dust, so their R&D department is working overtime to increase those numbers every single day. I can promise you that. So that is not just a suggestion. There is solid R&D behind those numbers, and I don't want to go over those numbers. Those numbers are there for a reason. They were put there by people a lot smarter than I am, and I just want to play it safe when I'm in the payload department, okay? A lot of people will tell you to be even safer to stay within about 80% of your payload, okay? That's just a suggestion that most people would agree with, all right? So I moved from a payload of 1,568 pounds to a payload of 2,598. So I got over 1,000 pounds more payload with my new tow vehicle, all right? My new tow vehicle is a 2013 Ford F-250 gasoline version, okay? The gasoline versions are gonna have higher payloads than the diesel versions, all right? We'll go into that later, but just a heads up on that. But payload was super important to me. There's a lot of other reasons why, but mainly because I wanted to be well within limits of my payload, and this F-250 does that for me. Next on the list for me was wheelbase. So generally speaking, the longer your wheelbase, the better your truck's gonna pull, okay? Now, obviously you also have the options of single rear wheel and dualies. A shorter dually is gonna pull a little bit more stable than a longer wheelbase single rear wheel. That, I can't really say that, that single rear wheel. But so you can kind of imagine where it's gonna go there, test drive them, see what you think. The wheelbase can vary, okay? So if you just go out and say, okay, I want an F-250. Well, there's a lot of different variances of F-250s out there. They can go from a wheelbase of 137 inches for a regular cab, regular bed F-250, all the way up to 172 inches for a Super Crew long bed, okay? So that's a huge difference. That's almost 3 feet of wheelbase, not overall length. I'm talking about the wheelbase from wheel to wheel, okay? So my particular truck is 156 inches of wheelbase. I thought that was going to be more than adequate. And I totally agree now that I've experienced towing with it a great deal. That's more than adequate for my 32-foot travel trailer. Your needs will differ, but make sure to check out that wheelbase. Not all Super Duties are made the same. All right, number 3 on the list, and this one is probably the most hotly debated. It was 3rd on the list for me, but gas versus diesel. Oh boy, this one's going to get a lot of people going here. So I chose gas, all right, from my particular situation. Price is a huge factor there. The fact that diesel prices currently, we're at the end of 2018, currently diesel prices do not make up, the miles per gallon on the diesel trucks do not make up for the bigger gap between gasoline and diesel right now. Obviously that can change very quickly, but right now they can't make up for it in MPGs. And we have the gas trucks have better payloads, higher payloads, actually much higher payloads than their diesel counterparts. Now, I didn't say towing capacity, I said payload, which is the number one thing I was looking for, okay? Towing capacity, the diesels blow the gas out of the water, all right? But that realm is so far fetched from what I actually tow that wasn't really a concern for me. Payload was a concern. I wanted as much payload as I can get. I actually looked at a diesel F250, a used platinum diesel F250. The payload was only 1,700 pounds. So only not even 200 pounds more than my old F-150, okay? The fact is, those diesel, the big power strokes, I'm talking about Ford, but this also goes for Dodge and Chevy as well. The big power strokes weigh 800 pounds more than their gas counterparts, okay? So that's 800 more pounds on the same axles, on the same bearings, using the same transmission, okay? All things are the same except for the power plants. And you add 800 pounds onto all of that, well, it's obviously going to subtract 800 pounds from your payload. So payload was important for me. That was a big reason I went gas. There are tons of good reasons to go diesel as well, even to spend that extra money. And I'm sure a lot of people will comment in the comment section. I hope you do, on why you went diesel. But for me, gas versus diesel, gas just won out. All right, next up on the list is the percentage you tow versus the percentage you daily drive, okay? So if this is gonna be mostly a daily driver versus a tow vehicle, or is it gonna be mostly a tow vehicle versus a daily driver? So obviously, in most situations, okay, this is just a general rule, the more you're able to tow and haul, the worse your truck is gonna ride, okay? So I've got a little graphic there, and it's by no means scientific, but it's just a general overall idea of what you're going to get when it comes to ride quality and towing hauling ability. So if you just tow a couple times a year, but those couple times you really need to tow, maybe you can get close to that max payload and not worry about it, and then the rest of the time you've got a nice daily driver. On the other hand, if you use your truck for work especially, and you need that working ability, you're not nearly as concerned about the ride comfort, okay? These trucks can get very large very quickly, so a lot of times the more capable the truck, the bigger the truck. So drive-throughs become an issue, parking becomes an issue. It's not that you can't do it, it's just more difficult, all right? So that daily driver tow vehicle percentage is very important. Sit down, figure out, okay, how much am I actually going to tow with this thing? And then maybe that'll help you make a better decision on how much ability you need when it comes to hauling and towing. All right, next up on the list, bells and whistles. So do we get more? Do we get less? Well, for us, we went with a used truck with all the bells and whistles versus a new truck with many less bells and whistles, okay? So we thought that was important because we knew that we would be taking longer trips in this vehicle, and it's nice to have leather, it's nice to have heated seats, cooled seats. That stuff may seem a little bit silly when you're shopping for them and you think to yourself, I can do without that, but I can tell you we've really enjoyed them. So it's certainly something to consider if you're on the verge of a new XL tow vehicle or a used Lariat vehicle, at least as far as Ford's concerned. It's something to consider. But all right, everyone, I hope this helps you at least get started on your journey shopping for tow vehicles. Like I said in the beginning of the video, comment below. Those of you that are probably a lot smarter than I am and a lot more experience with tow vehicles, please comment below. Let us know the things you look for when you're shopping for a tow vehicle, and maybe the combination of the video and the comments can be a great resource for those that are actually in the process of shopping for their next tow vehicle. So thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, keep me on there. Keep my face in there, buddy. Oh man, this looks cool. I look like a cool dude here. I could go new. I could get a new vehicle with less bells and whistles, an XL or an XLT package. But really, oh man, that's terrible. Let's try again. Who would like to ask questions, and they're going to have some real well-qualified folks to answer those questions. So let's get started. That was terrible.